Okay, hello. Hopefully this is going to go live right now. I think it probably will, but I am just going to double check on one thing because I don't want to sort of presume that everything's working. Okay, I've clicked on that and it does appear to be working, hooray. Okay, cool, so the next thing I'm going to do then, I will introduce myself because some of you may know me and some of you may not. So hello everybody, welcome to my live stream and thanks very much for joining me today. This is Real Wizardry and sometimes I go live, sometimes I don't. I haven't gone live for flipping ages, but I am back and I guess I should probably introduce myself. So I'm Neil, I'm your host and your resident gadget geek. And I guess magic geek as well from Exeter, so it's lovely to see you all. I want you to grab a drink. I have just the one tonight. It's a massive one, but it is just one. So settle in, let's have some fun. And with that amount of cider, I'm likely to have a lot of fun. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. There's no one there at the moment as far as I can see. So I will just keep an eye on that chat anyway. So if I look over here, that's kind of where I'm keeping an eye on that chat. So if you wonder why, that's why. Let me just shrink a couple of windows over here. You can tell I haven't done this for a while, can't you? Crikey. There we go. Let's shrink that down. Let's move that over. There we are. Hopefully that'll work. Hey, Katie Christensen's here. Hello. How you doing? I've not seen you online for flipping ages, at least not on YouTube anyway. So it's all very lovely to see some regulars back. Now, we have got some magic news, some weird stories and a game to play. Those games I think you are going to be quite familiar with. It's called Real or Fake. So I'm broadcasting today from the Dungeon of Trigger Towers. It's also known as my office, and it's actually the last show here before we move to the man cave next week. So it's a bit of a sort of goodbye session in a way, and also a bit of a hello session as well, because I haven't been online for ages. Those of you who know, know. Now, I know it's very Christmassy, and it's still not December quite yet. But I thought I'd go all jazzy and go all Christmassy to say, you know, it's almost there. We're almost in December. It has been a while indeed, Kaylee. Yeah, crazy, I know. It's been too long. I mean, I've been updating the man cave. The man cave, for those of you who don't know, if you're watching on catch up or whatever, is my magical pub, and I am going to be revealing it properly next week. So that's going to be like the first Sunday, first weekend at least, in December, so that's going to be very exciting. But next week's live show will be on a Sunday instead of a Saturday because I'm going to be taking my granddaughter on the Polar Express, and I might film some of that adventure for you and to share with you. You never know if you're very lucky. So yeah, I see some hearts there, thanks very much. So I'm hoping it's going to be really awesome. And just as a bit of a heads up, this live stream is being broadcast from my mini PC, which is a new thing. It's a fairly small thing, but it's going to be in the man cave next week. Currently it's in the office. It's getting a bit warm in here. I did turn on the aircon beforehand, but I can't go and keep it on because it keeps on sort of, it's buzzing in the background. I don't want that to be picked up on camera. But yeah, so if in the man cave, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to have all of the setup that I would normally have, all the sound effects and images and all of that sort of thing. And following some feedback, I was going to get rid of Frank the Talking Elephant entirely and replace him with Ferdinand the Talking Skull. But I think I'm actually going to keep Frank the Talking Elephant, at least for some of it. Maybe not for all of it, but at least for some of it. So stick around. There is going to be bragging rights up for grabs. For our best chat participant, and also for those people who win the real or fake. So that should be pretty awesome as well. So I am going to keep an eye on the chat, and I am going to check it and say hello to everybody. So at the moment, Kaylee's the only person who said hello. If you are watching, please do say hello as well. I'm also just going to nip over and see whether anyone is in the chat at the moment. I can't actually see. It doesn't seem to be doing anything, but yeah, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm still trying to get my head around all of this sort of stuff because currently I'm broadcasting from one computer and looking at another for the stats. So it's a bit of a weird one, but hopefully it'll all be ironed out for next week, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to do this one. Bit of a sound check then, Kaylee. Can you hear me okay? Hopefully you can. I guess, judging by your comments, yes, you can, so that's cool. So, who is here today? Say hello if you are watching. Now, the way this is going to work is that I will read out names and comments throughout, so please do not be shy. If you're watching on replay, also let us know in the comments. I always read them, even after the event, so it'll be lovely to sort of see anything like that. What do we need to do with this? Nothing. No, that's all good. Okay, I can close that. Cool. So I'm going to give you a bit of a Ferdinand update. Ferdinand, for those of you who don't know, is my talking skull, and he's going to be joining us in the man cave in the chat. Many of you have been asking about my talking friend, Ferdinand. He's basically a talking skull that I created. He is now working, but I haven't integrated him into the live stream just yet. There's some wiring and software and that sort of stuff to sort out before he can properly join the show as a permanent feature. So, he won't be appearing tonight, but expect him to pop up in a future stream. He's got his own little lovely frame, and he will be interacting. So he will be talking to me direct, so it's going to be quite fun, I think. But I do need to get him plugged in and all of that sort of stuff. So feel free to say hi in the chat anyway. He is always listening from the sidelines, so if you want to say hi Ferdinand, just say hi Ferdinand and he'll read that. So let's start out with the top story today. Now this one's quite a weird one. It's about talking to the dead with AI. And it's an idea I had a while back, but I didn't action it. I didn't take any action on it because I kind of thought it was a bit creepy. But an app created by actor Callum Worthy and producer Russell Geezer lets people chat with digital versions of loved ones who've passed away. So that sounds a bit creepy, right? According to Newsweek.com, Disney star Callum from Disney's Austin and Ally made an app that will literally resurrect your dead loved ones. Now it's not sort of a necromancy kind of thing, but it uses AI to sort of almost clone them. So what do you think of this? Let me know down in the chat and I'll stop and read the comments in just a moment. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a flavour and then sort of pause and reflect and see how it goes. So it uses just a few minutes of video of that person to build an avatar that looks and sounds like your dead relatives. And then you can basically talk to it forever. Now the promo video shows a pregnant daughter and her child, and then that child then grows up and becomes a grown man. And they're all conversing with an AI grandma. Now this spans several decades of life, according to the advert anyway. And I guess the weird bit for me is that the character that Callum plays in his own advert, the grown man by this point, never really knew the grandma when she was alive. I find that quite creepy. Now the ad then ends with a real clip of the grandmother's recording her own voice to train the AI. And the tagline promises that 3 minutes can last forever. But to quote Ian Malcolm, and that's a character played by Jeff Goldblum in the first Jurassic Park movie, we're so preoccupied with whether or not we could, nobody stopped to question whether or not we should. And I think that's something that I'd quite like to sort of push a little bit here with AI. I don't know whether we should be doing this. Now the company is called Two Way, which is quite clever, but it's spelled 2 W-A-I. Of course it's AI, it's got to involve AI, right? And it says that avatars must be created while the person is alive so that their family controls their digital twin. And I think that's kind of okay. Yeah, I mean, Kaylee, I think you're right. That's creepy. I don't like it. No, I don't really like it either. I'm a big fan of AI, but I don't think this is the right use for it. So critics online call the idea evil, demonic, and dehumanizing. And I mean, I'm not really sure about the demonic bit. I think that's probably going a bit too far. But for me, at least, there are some concerns. So many people worry that simulating the dead could distort memories and interfere with mourning. And I do definitely agree with those sorts of criticisms. Even some even caution that it might lead to dependency or psychosis for people struggling with grief. And I mean, for sure, it's got to mess with that sort of grieving process, hasn't it? I think. We've all heard of hallucinations of AI, and if you've used ChatGPT or anything like that, it does kind of hallucinate every now and then. So AI hallucinations can be kind of weird, and also a bit spooky sometimes as well, especially if you've been chatting to a chatbot for a while. If you've spent time to like train it and suddenly it does something weird, it can be quite disorientating. So when ChatGPT 5.1 came out, which is I think the latest version, as far as I know, I think it's the latest version, it actually seemed to forget some of the data that I trained into it on earlier versions. It seemed to forget the name of my wife. It suddenly said, M's gonna love it. And I was like, who's M? And it replied with, oh, sorry, that was presumptuous of me. I guess Emma doesn't like to be called M. And I was like, who's Emma? And eventually it did sort of recognise that it had hallucinated. But what was interesting there was that whole sort of interaction was quite reminiscent of Alzheimer's disease or dementia. It was almost like the AI kind of just went, oh yeah, I've forgotten that, oh silly me. And I've known people with dementia do exactly that sort of thing. Now, if an AI is there to essentially replace a loved one, and it does bring up some really serious implications for humanity like that, I mean, certainly I think if it acts like someone with dementia and someone's grieving that person anyway, I think that's a problem for me, I think. I don't like it. Hi, sorry, I couldn't work out how to get in, said Laura. Hi, Laura. We were sort of tangentially talking about you in a weird way. But yeah, I think this does bring up quite a few implications for AI, not least of which, if our loved ones suddenly start acting like that hallucination that I just mentioned, well, it's quite disturbing when dementia strikes a loved one anyway, and it's unsettling for the person witnessing it, and it reinforces the idea that that person is kind of gone, or the person behind the words is a bit out of touch. So, I mean, that worries me a little bit. Even if in real life, with living people, it feels like we're kind of losing them if dementia hits, and it's clearly got problems, I think. So let me know what you think down in the comments, because I would like to sort of hear your view on this. There's also an option to chat with historical figures using this app, or even celebrities, making the app sort of more like a general avatar platform. And that I don't really have so much of a problem with, because these performers are performers with a public persona. And they're kind of less likely to make the same personal connection to people than your loved ones might. And so I don't really see that as an issue. But the controversy raises big questions about consent and identity and whether or not we should commercialise grief. So let's go into the chat and see what you're all saying about it. Kaylee Christensen, yeah, morality. Morally, I don't think it's a good idea. No, I don't think it's a good idea either. And she's retracted a message, which I don't know whether that was the same message or not. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's almost like if you're going to grieve someone, just let them grieve, you know? I don't think we should be necessarily copying a person, because it's not really going to be that person. I mean, I have to admit, it does feel like something a bit out of Black Mirror. Keep letting me know what you think in the chat. Would you try it? But next up, we're going to do a bit of a roundup of magic news. I mean, that was a little bit of magic news. That was my top story, and that's definitely the, I guess, the moral compass bit of the show. But before we get into the roundup of magic news, if you are enjoying this live stream, please do click like, subscribe and ding that bell. So by dinging the bell, it lets YouTube know that it's a good video or a good live stream, and more people should see it. So let's start with what's happening in the world of illusion. I've picked 10 juicy highlights to warm us up. So get ready to be amazed, because some of this is quite cool. And maybe also book some tickets as well, because I've got a couple of things that you might be interested in. The Magician's Room opens in Las Vegas. If any of you are either in Las Vegas or near or going, a brand new magic speakeasy on the Strip opened recently. I haven't been to Las Vegas. I would love to go. But this apparently hosts late night shows with well-known magicians and has a hidden door vibe, whatever a hidden door vibe means. But I guess if you imagine cocktails, velvet sofas and mind-blowing close-up tricks, that's probably not too far off. So if you are heading to Las Vegas, put it on your list, and also let me know what it's like, you know, if you do go. I know we have quite a lot of people from all over the world. Blue Lady is here, hello to you. Laura said hello to Blue Lady as well. So Yes, next up, Magic Meets Art with Jeanette Andrews. Now, for those of you who don't know, Jeanette Andrews is quite a famous former stage magician, and she's creating new museum-quality magic art. So she mixes sleight of hand, perception science, whatever that means, I guess it's probably related to what my PhD was all about, and also installations to make you question reality. Now, I'm just keeping an eye on the chat, just in case anyone is actually talking away. If I look distracted, that's kind of why. So Laura said, hi Jan, or hello Jan, and hi Laura, hi Jan. Everyone's talking to each other, which is what I love about this channel. That a lot of people just sort of chat away to each other, which is cool. So yeah, if I look distracted, that is why. Apparently, this art installation I was talking about is like walking through a gallery that keeps changing right before your eyes. I don't know really very much more about it, but I would like to know a little bit more, so if you see that sort of thing, let me know, because I'd like to find out more. I've labelled this number 2, but it's actually number 3, I think. I think I've done the labelling all very wrong, but it was all a bit of a rush, so sorry about that. Now you see me, now you don't. It hit cinemas fairly recently. Now this is the 3rd film in the Heist Illusion series, and it's already out now. So when we go to the cinema, and Laura, I know you're watching, so when we go to the cinema, I'd really like to watch that one, please. That'd be nice, unless you've got some other better idea. But yeah, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It's the 3rd film, and I'd love to see it. It brings back the old cast, so Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Isla Fisher, and that other bloke that I'd never heard of before the first movie, and haven't actually heard of since, believe it or not. But they also add new magicians, so they up the stakes, so it's a typical sequel kind of stuff, I reckon. And I'm not quite sure why Isla Fisher wasn't in the 2nd movie. Maybe something to do with scheduling or pregnancy, I'm not really sure. But I am quite glad that she's back for this one, because I quite like Isla Fisher, and I'm excited to see the movie. The reviews say it's flashy fun, even if the plot is a little bit bonkers, but since Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter himself, was in the 2nd movie, I guess bonkers never really off the table anyway. So, would you watch that movie? Let me know down in the comments. Oh, hello, ooh, Laura. Hello, ooh, what's that mean? I'll consider it, says Laura. Oh, thanks very much, it's very kind of you. Hello, ooh, Laura, I couldn't figure out how to get in. Yeah, everyone seems to not be able to get in today. I don't quite know why. I'm hoping next time I'll put like some music up and put a hold screen and all that sort of stuff, so people can sort of wait and chat to each other and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so would you watch that movie? I think it's... I like those sorts of movies, and we watched number 1 the other day. But my mate Pete hates these movies. He says that they're all about a bunch of crooks and they all deserve to go to jail, so I guess he's got a point. But have you seen this movie yet? What did you think of it? I'd love to know your opinions down in the comments. You can tell I haven't done these live shows for a while. My throat is really dry. I couldn't see the live stream anywhere for ages. Oh, that's a bit worrying. Maybe it takes a little while to come through. Okay, number 4, viral magic marketing. Now this is kind of related to number 3 earlier. So Jesse Eisenberg, who plays in, he plays Daniel Atlas in the movie, he did a card trick and gave away cards as tickets. So we've spoken about the movie itself, but to promote the movie, actor Jesse Eisenberg did surprise card tricks in a park. I think it was Central Park from memory. So he plays J. Daniel Atlas in the movies, and he's actually taken to learning a bit of magic himself, which I think is kind of cool. So by all accounts, he's actually quite good. And he handed out these playing cards as tickets to the first screening of the new movie. So I think that is pretty cool, actually. And it was a clever mix of sort of guerrilla marketing and sort of genuine magic astonishment sort of stuff. So obviously they're doing it for marketing purposes, but I think that's pretty neat, actually. Number 5, Viva la Magia is a festival in León in Spain this December, January, and I think maybe February as well. So street magic, gala shows, workshops and more. It's apparently quite a huge festival, and it runs from December 25 into January 26, so maybe not February then. So plenty of time to plan though, and I'd quite like to go live from there if the Wi-Fi is decent, but I probably won't because I don't think I've got enough time off work, which is a bit of a shame. Number 6, and this will come as no surprise to anyone because AI is such a massive thing nowadays, but AI generated magic scripts. I'd like you to let me know what you think about AI generated magic scripts, or scripts for videos and scripts for shows in general. Apparently, magicians are reportedly using AI to write the patter for classic magic tricks. I don't really like that. I'm afraid this doesn't surprise me, but it does kind of make me feel a bit yucky. So if you imagine like a robot writing your jokes, would you trust it? I mean, let's be honest, I don't think it's the same. Oh, we've got someone else popping in. One moment, please. Couldn't see, it was good when we watched it the other day. Yeah, so Laura and I watched the first movie the other day. Hola, Papa! Evil vegetables. That's Daniel. That's my son. Hi, Daniel. How you doing? And then everyone say, hi, Daniel. There's waves and hello, Daniel. Sounds like AI slop to me. Yeah, I think there's an awful lot of AI slop out there at the moment, and it's just a bit gross. I mean, if you're trusting a robot or trusting AI to write your jokes, I mean, would you trust it? Let's be honest, it's not the same. I did ask ChatGPT, by the way, to write me a magic joke and then put it into this script of this live show. So if you want to hear it now, I can tell you. Let me know. Not really. I can't imagine robot jokes being very funny, said Laura. Well, in that case, let's hold your horses just a second, because this is a joke written by ChatGPT. It's almost funny. Funny kind of the way that it thinks it's funny. So anyway, I'll tell you the story. I'll try and be as engaging and as humorous as I can, but I'm not quite sure where the punchline is, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So, a magician walked into a bar, waved his wand, and said, "For my next trick, I'll make this drink disappear." The bartender sighed. "Mate, that's just drinking." "Ah," said the magician, "but watch closely." He took a sip. Good excuse for me to take a sip, isn't it? Paused dramatically and whispered, "Behold, the vanishing act continues." That's not the punchline, apparently. By the time he reached the bottom of the glass, the bartender clapped slowly. "Impressive," he said. "Got any tricks that don't involve alcohol?" "Yes," said the magician. He raised his wand again. The bartender vanished. Turns out he'd just gone on his break. Okay. That's the story. Now, be honest, was that funny? I think that was pretty dreadful, right? I mean, it didn't actually contain any humour. Or at the very least, it wasn't very funny. If we're going to use AI, can we please just use it as a helper rather than as a replacement for effort? Let me know in the chat if that's creative genius or just cheating. I did not like that at all. I didn't even like saying it. And talking of which, let's just go back to the chat and see what you guys are saying a bit down there. Dad joke funny? I'm not sure it's even dad joke funny, really. Tell us. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Not even a 6. That's, I mean... Yeah, Kaylee said not even a little bit funny. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Laura Trigger did a whole load of robot emojis. Evil vegetables, haha, that was very humorable funny. Humorable? I'm not sure that's a word. That was very humorable funny. And then a robot emoji. I think he's trying to say, ha ha ha, that was very humorable funny. Like he's a robot himself. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Number 7 then, the micro magic trend. Now this one, kind of following from number 6, doesn't really actually surprise me very much. To be honest, I'll explain why in a moment. When it comes to magic, people love being up close and personal. I mean, that sounds a bit dodgy, but you know what I mean. Where there's nowhere to hide. So according to recent surveys, there has been a recent trend away from TV magic and online streaming, and a move back up to close-up, real-life, close-up magic shows. So one-on-ones and micro-magic rather than big-scale, large illusion-type shows. And it doesn't surprise me at all. These are sort of more intimate sessions, and they're perfect for living room parties, cozy, smaller stages, closed door kind of places. I think that kind of ties into the reactions against AI, and it's kind of similar to the success of things like the Book of Mormon, sort of reeling against the woke, I guess. It kind of ties into people reeling against fake, if that makes sense. And I know that magic is inherently fake, but if people are going to be fooled, it makes it more real if they're fooled face to face. I mean, let's look at this logically. We can all type pretty much anything into an AI video generator nowadays and make anything happen. So seeing magic on screen doesn't really feel much like magic anymore, does it? Oh God, what does that actually mean for this channel though? Does never mind. Right, number 8. Immersive magic crosses the show. Immersive magic show crosses to the Atlantic. Oh yeah, okay. So Laura Trigger said, it's funny because I'm embarrassed for you. Embarrassed for me? Well, I didn't write it. Like I say, ChatGPT wrote the joke. Evil vegetables, bingo! I agree, magic is a very human thing at its core. Well, a wizardry thing. Well, yeah. Magic and illusion, I think, is very... It's humanistic, and I think it should always be. Anyway, a London show, The Magician's Table, is moving to Charlotte in the USA. I did mention that earlier. It's an immersive theatre with close-up magic, live music and cocktails, and you sit at a table of 12 magicians. Sorry, you sit at a table of 12 and magicians wander around and the story sort of unfolds around you, and it sounds like very much my sort of thing, to be fair. The show runs at Stage 2 at Bloom Studios from the 19th of November, so pretty much now, to the 15th of February 2026. And it starts with a pre-show lounge where magicians mingle with guests, and presumably we get more of that sort of lovely close-up wonder that I mentioned before. Then you enter something called Dieter Rottenberg's private performance space, with tales of love, loss and mystery. And the evening lasts about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and includes tableside magic and stage performances. Now, I'm not sponsored. I'm not going to tell you whether it's worth it or not. I have no idea. But tickets are around about £80 with group discounts. So they start at £80. I think presumably they go up if you haven't got a discount. So it doesn't seem too nutty though, considering what you get for that money, you know, food, drink, all that sort of stuff. And I love that we have these sorts of shows like this that blend theatre and magic together. Have you seen something similar? Let me know down in the comments. I actually wanted to go to the Great Christmas Feast this year, or to be honest, any year. I've seen it for a couple of years now. But I've not actually been able to get there yet, so maybe next year, you never know. The Great Christmas Feast, for those of you who don't know, is kind of similar, but Charles Dickens reads A Christmas Carol while guests are fed, and even then given drinks, and the story sort of unfolds around you with ghosts and dramatics. It sounds pretty awesome, so let me know if you fancy that down in the comments. We could even go as a real wizardry visit, so that would be pretty cool. Up next then, number 9, magic crosses into theatre and social experiments. Now this is different to what I've said before, but illusions are starting to pop up in immersive plays. Pardon me, oh, I'm getting a bit gassy. Illusions are starting to pop up in immersive plays and art shows. Now I know I've spoken about a couple already, but this is actually part of a wider magic trend. Artists are starting to use magic to make the audience part of the performance. And it's brilliant to see our craft expanding beyond the stage. And then finally, number 10. This one's a bit of a strange one for me, and I'll tell you why in a second, but magic clubs and communities are staying strong according to recent surveys. So despite losing some legends fairly recently, like David Berglass, who was a massive inspiration to me as a young magician, magic societies across the world are still thriving. Sadly, Plymouth Magic Circle, which was my local club, had a bit of a scandal when the president, or the then president at least, was convicted of child sex offences, which put something of a stigma around the club, as you can imagine, and most membership almost completely died out, including me, as you can imagine. But more widely though, magic clubs do seem to be thriving, and they host competitions, lectures and memorials to keep the spirit alive. Pardon the pun about the memorials thing. Let's go back to the chat. But if you're not part of a magic club yet, consider joining one. I think they are pretty cool. And if you want to start somewhere, you can even join this channel for only £1.99 per month. The price hasn't gone up in 5 years, so it's a bit of a bargain, I think. Okay, time to check the chat. What are we saying over here? Okay, Evil Vegetable said, I think it's a kind of about the lead up as well. Without the heart, it's not got much punch. Yeah, that's true. Christmas cakes looking and smelling, I think that's what it means. Awesome, Laura. Yeah, so Blue Lady 1195 is making some Christmas cakes today. Yeah. Oh, yummy. Looking forward to seeing it, Jan. Or looking forward to it, Jan. Evil Vegetables, something like that was included in Woman in Black. Really set the spooky ambience. Yeah, I think that sort of thing can. You know, magic can be quite a visceral thing, especially if you're used to the sort of fakery online, but you're not really used to it in real life. So, take a sip of your drink. Type cheers if you're having fun, by the way. Cheers. I'm not going to drink too much more because I do kind of feel like the need to go to the loo actually fairly soon. What's your favourite news item? Type the answer in the chat and I'll shout you out. Okay, bit of an update on Smellcaster. For those of you who know, you know. A glimpse of the future. So you may have seen me tinker with gadgets before, but the big one on the workbench down in the man cave at the moment is the Smellcaster. So for those of you who don't know, it's a device that blasts smells or scents into the room on command using compressed air bursts and scene-based aromas. I've connected it to my smart home already, and it does work with Amazon Alexa and my phone, and I've even linked it to ChatGPT and Home Assistant. Now in the future I'm going to open up my access to my Smellcaster and to my whole magical man cave actually using my website, so you guys can actually control things like lighting and lighting and yes, even smells inside the man cave. There's going to be quite a lot of totally nutty stuff and it's all coming in the new year, but it will be coming, and I've tested some of it out. And in theory, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work. I'm building it using a Raspberry Pi, Home Assistant and MQTT behind the scenes, but I know that's probably a bit too geeky for some people, so if you'd like to know more, I can cover it in more detail over on my other channel, Magical Man Cave. The aim is to create smellyvision. Imagine watching a spell and actually smelling the potions, the smoke, and I've already worked out how to action this on YouTube. So the next step is then linking it to Netflix, but we'll see how that goes. Now eventually you'll be able to control it through the Real Wizardry website, but it's not connected yet. This is just a teaser. It's not finished, but I couldn't resist kind of letting you in on the plan. I'll keep you posted as everything comes together. Okay, so we've held off long enough. If you're here for real or fake, it's back, baby. Oh yeah, it's game time. Now for the main event, real or fake, I'll tell you a strange story. You'll guess in chat whether it's true or it's made up. After a pause, I'll reveal the answer and maybe a bit more detail, and this is the bit that Frank is going to be able to do a bit later on, but as of right now, he can't. So, I'm just going to get myself ready. Some are based on real events, others are pure fiction. Keep track of your own score, bragging rights are on the line, and for those of you who are new here and may not know, here are the instructions. When I finish the story, just type real or fake in the chat. Members can even use the emojis that I created if you are still a member. Feel free to explain why you think it's real or fake. We love to hear your logic. And here we go. Cheers! Everyone said cheers. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Story number 1, the Vault Vacuum Incident. A man in Ohio worked in a bank. He went to the toilet inside the bank after hours, and just as his shift was ending, prior to closing for Labour Day. The security system triggered a pressure vacuum that sealed the vault door, but due to a plumbing issue, it also caused suction within the toilet itself, and he ended up trapped inside the cubicle. But is that real or fake? So he was trapped inside the cubicle for 2 days, surviving on peppermints he found in his coat pocket. I'm going to put a pause on that. I'll be back in a moment. Let me know what you think down in the comments. like I say, ordinarily I would have some music on, but unfortunately I didn't. Sorry about that. Real, said Laura. Right, so the reels are starting to come in. Real, said Blue Lady. Okay, so he was stuck inside the toilet for 2 days, surviving on peppermints he found in his coat pocket. Kaylee Christensen said real. Type your guesses in the chat now. I think there might be a bit of a lag on here. The answer is, unfortunately, sorry, but it is fake. The bank vault lock-ins do happen, but no vacuum toilets, thankfully. Can you imagine that just being stuck to the toilet? Add a chuckle emoji in the chat if you did fall for it, though. Oh dear. You know, ever since the pneumonia and whooping cough, my throat has not been the same. So doing this for an hour. Oh. Okay, number 2, story 2. The pigeon jury. In a French village in the 1800s, a carrier pigeon was put on trial. The bird was accused of consorting with the enemy. A judge, jury, and even an executioner took part. Thankfully for the pigeon, it bowed at the right moment, showing that it was an honourable pigeon, and it was acquitted by the jury. But is that real or fake? Cast your vote now in the chat, and remember that if you are a member, you can still use your emojis. If you're not a member, you can always join for £1.99 a month, and then you can. So, what do you think? Let us check the chat. And by the way, if you could type in the number, so this is number 2, type in number 2 and just say, is it real or fake? Let me know. What do we think? Laura's currently the king, the number 1. Interesting. We've got lots of hearts, lots of likes. What do we think? Did the pigeon go on trial? Number 2 is real, said Kaylee. The first reels are starting to come in. Yeah, I think we are lagging a little bit here, which is a bit of a shame. I'm reacting as quickly as I can. Let's go there. Okay, I don't know whether anyone else is going to be guessing, but the answer is yes, it is actually real. This one kind of blew my mind a bit, but I'm afraid it is real. Medieval Europe held animal trials where they put things like pigs, cows, cats, frogs and other animals on trial, including obviously pigeons, which is a little bit crazy, huh? I think real number 2. No, I'm afraid. Yes, it is real. Sorry. Real, it seems really ridiculous, but I'm going to say real. It is real. Yeah, history is utterly nuts. Story number 3 then. So if you think this one is real, type in 3 and real, and if you think it's fake, real, 3 and fake. So here we go. The man who survived 18,000 bee stings. I'm guessing that's rounded up or down, I'm not really sure. A gardener in Florida disturbed a rogue hive and was stung over 18,000 times. His heart stopped twice on the way to the hospital and he survived, and later he said that the worst part was the itching. But is that real or fake? What do you think? Naughty, naughty pigeon, said Kaylee Christensen. Yes, I know. Consorting with the enemy. I'm not quite sure how a pigeon would consort with an enemy. But I suppose if it was a carrier pigeon, it would probably just sort of take the message to the wrong person, maybe. Now, some people think that that pigeons are particularly stupid, but actually they've been proven to be a lot smarter than people give them credit for. In fact, pretty much every animal is smarter than we originally think when we start designing these sort of intelligence tests. Pretty much every animal. So maybe we need to think of better ways of testing intelligence. Number 3, real. What a whinger, said Laura Trigger. Real? What a whinger. So he's been stung 18,000 times and you think he's just whinging. Okay. Okay. I think I know everything about you now, dear. Kaylee Christensen said 3, fake. And Blue Lady said 3 fake. I don't know whether Evil Vegetables is still here, but the answer is... Check the chat. No, I'm not sure he's around. The answer is no, it is actually real. It did happen, and he somehow lived to tell the tale. So yes, he was stung by 18,000 bees. So a salute to his resilience and maybe his thick skin as well. Story number 4. So again, number 4, and either real or fake. The espresso explosion. In Turin, a barista packed an espresso machine so tight that it exploded backwards. The portafilter flew across the cafe and embedded a puck of condensed coffee grounds in the ceiling. No one was hurt. The puck was later preserved in resin and framed as art. But is that real or fake? Make your guesses now, please. What do we think? Yeah, Laura Trigger got that right. Well done. Yeah, she's got the crown and the number 1. I don't know what the number 1 is all about, because Kaylee had number 1 earlier, but I don't know whether it's just the number of things, number of comments that you're making, or what it's about. I don't really know. There are currently 5 people watching, but I think only 4 people, maybe even 3 people participating in real or fake. So if you want to join in, please just type it in the chat if you can. And if you are watching this on catch up, let me know down in the comments how you did. So is that real or fake? Did the coffee machine explode and embed the condensed coffee grounds in the ceiling? What do we think? Number 4, fake, said Kaylee. Sorry, no, from Blue Lady. But Kaylee also says it's fake. Yep, okay. And Laura Trigger, what does she say? Dun, dun, dun. Fake. It probably would have hit the barista before it hit the ceiling. That's a fair point, unless it went through the machine. What do we think now? Okay, so the answer, actually, yes, you're right. You're all right. The answer is fake. Machines can explode, but no puck darts have ever been recorded as far as I know. But yeah, just in case, I should probably issue a reminder just to tamp lightly if you do make coffee. Number 5 then, about halfway now. The IKEA maze escape artist. A Swedish teen secretly lived inside an IKEA showroom for 14 days. That's 2 weeks. He slept in different beds each night and left helpful notes on product tags to assist shoppers with ratings of how comfortable the beds were. He became an instant overnight celebrity in Sweden when he was discovered on day 15. But is that real or fake? Vote now. I used to have like a timer up in the corner, up there. Yeah, up there. There we go, up there. And it used to sort of count down from 5 to 1, and I used to quite like that because it sort of gave everybody a bit of a time check. But yeah, we'll see. Interesting. What do we think? Did a teenager live in an IKEA showroom for 14 days? Kaylee said 5 is real. Blue Lady and Laura Trigger yet to go. What do we think? Real. Sounds like the plot of Roofman, but without the armed robbery. That's a good point, actually. If you haven't watched Roofman, it was really good. It was actually really, really good. Who was it? Channing Tatum, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I'm just going to send something to somebody. It won't be a second. Oh, no. And Blue Lady, knowing how enormous IKEA is, I would think it's true, except the beds aren't real. The beds are real, actually. Or at least some of them are. Yeah, some of them are real. But the answer is, let's check the chat. No, we're all good. The answer is, no, it is fake. People have hidden in IKEA briefly and I think possibly even overnight, but 2 weeks is an internet myth. Whether or not they've done it in Disney World, I know that they did do it overnight in Disney World, but not for that long. Still, I think it would make a good sitcom. Number 6 then, the pilot without a windscreen. A UK pilot was sucked halfway out of his cockpit when the windscreen blew off mid-flight. The crew held onto his legs while the co-pilot landed the plane. The pilot, however, did survive with frostbite and bruises. But is that real or fake? Now this is supposedly happened to a British Airways flight. Is that real or fake? Yeah, Blue Lady said, okay, so true. Actually, no, the IKEA one was fake. But did a pilot get sucked out of a British Airways flight? I don't know whether it was I don't know what sort of plane it was, but it was a big jet. Was it real or fake? Did he get sucked out of the windscreen? Did he have nothing but bruises and frostbite? I guess it's quite high up, so it would be pretty chilly. But is that real or fake? What do we think? I apologise for the lag. There's not very much I can do about it. I could possibly change it to low latency later, but maybe not for this show, but maybe for next week I can put it as low latency. And how's the picture and audio quality as well? Let me know down in the chat. It'll be nice to know what everybody thinks of it. Number 7 is fake, according to Kaylee. So what do we think? 7, real or fake? Did the pilot get sucked out when the windscreen blew out? Did he suffer frostbite and bruises? What do we think? Blue Lady, fake. The co-pilot would have had frostbite too. Okay, and Laura Trigger, true. I know this 100% to be true. As I showed you the story, the air steward was hanging onto his legs. Yes, it is actually real. This actually happened to a British Airways flight 5390 in 1990. He was actually clinging onto it, and he was clinging on by his hands, which is where he got the frostbite from, and the co-pilot had to grab his feet. Eventually that was then transferred over to the air steward so the co-pilot could land the plane. But it is true, he did have quite severe bruising from being sucked out of the aircraft, but the very quick thinking co-pilot grabbed his legs and then transferred that over to the air steward, who held onto the legs so he wasn't going to be sucked out of the window. And then they landed with him sort of stuck on the front of the plane, which is just incredible. I think that's pretty scary, but talk about a gripping story, if you pardon the pun. Number 7 then, the man who married a ghost and then divorced her again. A medium in London claimed, and this is a fairly recent medium in the 1980s, claimed that he married the ghost of a Victorian woman. A year later, he announced a divorce. Now, it wasn't a legal marriage, so he didn't actually require a real legal divorce, but he did claim that it was due to the ghost's unreasonable behaviour, blaming her for the cold spots and hiding his cigarettes. But is that real or fake? Cast your vote now. I will be back in just a moment. Hello. Right, what do we think? True, people marry chandeliers and swimming pools, so why not ghosts? That's a very good point. Laura and I watched a documentary once on a woman who married a chandelier. It was a lesbian chandelier, apparently. Very interesting. Kaylee said it's real, and Blue Lady said it's true as well. Okay, actually, the answer is no, it's fake. Spirit marriages are claimed, apparently, but the cigarette thieving ghost is made up. Maybe she just wanted him to quit. I don't know. Okay, number 8. Sorry, my throat is not great. It's one of the main reasons actually that I haven't gone live for a while, because I wasn't sure whether I'd survive, and I'm starting to wonder whether or not I would. Lynn Kirby, hello to you. How are you doing? Thank you for coming. We're currently on Real or Fake. This one's number 9. Or is this, no, is this number 8? I don't know. It says number 8 on my script, but I think this one might be number 9. Let's see. No, it says number 8. I think this is actually number 9, but we'll see. Let's do this one. It's called the meteorite wallet. So a man walking in Norway felt something hit his pocket. He later realised that it was a meteorite. But is that real or fake? So this guy was just strolling along in Norway when his pocket was hit by an asteroid falling from space. And an asteroid, when it's in Earth's atmosphere, becomes a meteorite. So does that seem likely? He later discovered his wallet had been dented by a tiny meteorite fragment, and it literally fell from the sky and hit him. But is that real or fake? Vote now. Let me know what you think. And again, let's check the chat. What do you guys think? Yes, everyone's saying Lynn Kirby, most popular person on Earth. People marry their cars too, said Blue Lady. That is very true. Laura Trigger, hi Mum, hi Lynn. And, I'm not quite sure what that means. 8, said Laura. Okay. Lynn Kirby said real. So you think that someone in Norway was walking along and hit by a meteorite. Okay. Where are we? Kaylee Christensen said it is real. So whatever we're on, 8 or 9, let's say 9, because I think it's probably 9. Real, sure, why not, said Laura. Okay. And what does Blue Lady say? Fake. Okay. This one boggled me a bit. The answer is actually real. It's one of the few, very, very, very few documented meteorite strikes on a person's belongings, or on a person's person, I suppose. So it's kind of cosmic luck, really. But this thing, I don't think it would have been going quite as fast as normal meteorites, because normally they would be going at thousands of miles per second, or maybe not quite that fast. That would be crazy. But pretty fast. And yeah, he just felt something hit his leg, and I guess the kinetic impact of that wasn't as crazy as it otherwise might have been. But there we are. Story number 9 or 10, I'm not quite sure. I've totally lost count now. The goose that stole jewellery. So a pet goose in Yorkshire kept pinching shiny objects and then hiding them. So when the owners cleaned the shed, they found £9,000 worth of earrings, spoons, and even a tennis bracelet. Whatever that is. I don't even know what a tennis bracelet is. There was also a slightly chipped head of a plastic garden gnome. But is that real or fake? Have a guess now, please. Dun, 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 dun. What do we think? How are we liking the chat so far? And the live stream in general, I suppose. Are you enjoying it? Hopefully you are. So the live stream at the moment is currently being broadcast from my new PC. It's a fairly small thing. It's literally about that big. Probably stole... someone probably threw a stone at him. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Maybe they just had a meteorite and just threw it at his pocket. But apparently it did dent his wallet. How it dented his wallet, I don't know, because most wallets are sort of made of leather and stuff like that, rather than sort of metal, but I don't know, interesting. 10 is fake, 10 is true, 10 is real, 10 is fake. Okay, so we've got a real mix here. So the goose that stole £9,000 worth of earrings, spoons and a tennis bracelet is either real or fake. Let me know. Hello Laura, I mean real. Okay, the answer is actually fake. Magpies might, but geese generally don't steal stuff, but they will chase you if they don't know you or don't like you. They're actually worse guard dogs than dogs, or I suppose probably better guard dogs than dogs, actually, because yeah, they're pretty nasty. My friend Pete had a guard goose, and yeah, they are scary. Maybe our fake goose, though, wanted to start a jewellery business. We never know. Okay, now we're actually on story number 10. So if you want to put story number 11, just so I know there's a new one. The man saved by a Mars bar. So a hiker in Scotland slipped down a rocky slope. He landed squarely on a multi-pack of Mars bars that he'd put in his rucksack. The soft chocolate cushioned the impact and prevented him from breaking any ribs. 2 of his ribs were quite bruised, but not broken. It doesn't say whether the Mars bars were actually deep fried or not, but I'm going to say that they're probably still in their wrappers, so probably not. But is that real or fake? Place your bets now, please. And if you haven't had a deep fried Mars bar, by the way, this is totally unrelated to the story, have one. I mean, they sound gross, but they are delightful. They sound really, yeah, they sound really grim. But they're very sweet, they're very oily and crispy and moorish. And if I lived in Scotland, I would be about 3 times the size I am now. But there we are. Laura Trigger said, "Hi, Mum," talking to Lynn. So, hi, Lynn. Yeah, what do you think? Did this hiker slip, fall onto his backpack and prevent his ribs from breaking because of the chocolate in his backpack? What do we think? I think he must have fallen quite a long way. What does it say here? Yeah, slipped down a rocky slope. What do we think? I mean, Scotland can, certainly in the Highlands, be very hilly. True, I like that story, said Laura. And then she put a chocolate bar emoji. True, said Lynn. It's called real or fake, but okay. Katie Christensen said 11, real. Yeah, so I think it is number 10, but obviously I directed everybody to say 11 if you can, so that's good. Thank you for that. Blue Lady, what do we think? Do we think that's real or fake? We had 16 views on this live show, that's pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with that. I mean, I don't think I told too many people that this is going live, but some people know, so that's nice. What does Blue Lady think? Oh, 11, real. Okay, so real, real, real and real. Okay, I don't think I fooled anybody with that one. Yes, it is actually real. There is a true story of a chocolate bar softening a fall. So I added a bit of flourish around it being deep fried, but yes, they were a multi-pack of Mars bars. So the moral of this story is next time when you're going hiking, pack lots of chocolate just for safety. So how did you score? I'm hoping that you've kept track of your scores, but please share your totals and your reactions as well. Type your favourite story in the chat as well. Which one did you like? Was it real or was it fake? I'd love to know which one's fooled you. I've already said it's real. Sorry, yes, that was me. But yeah, let me know in the comments whether or not I fooled you with any of those and what your scores were, because like I say, there's bragging rights. Who got the most? I didn't actually keep track. Maybe I should. I don't know. But final thoughts for today. Magic is alive and evolving, from immersive shows to AI scripts and everything in between. Like I say, I'm not very keen on the AI scripts, so don't get me wrong. Preparing this show has taken me ages. I also did use a bit of AI, but I'd rather do most of it myself than use AI to write all of those sort of dreadful pseudo jokes for me. I think it would be much better if we just use our own imagination and keep pushing the art forward, and maybe a bit sideways as well. Blue Lady only got 2 right, that's a shame. I'm guessing other people may have got a little bit higher than that. Now, if you can, check out the Magician's Table at Bloom Studios. It runs from the 19th of November to the 15th of February. And if you do go, please let us know how you get on, because it would be really interesting to see whether you liked it. Hopefully you'll enjoy the cocktails, live music, and 2 hours of intimate magic. And like I say, I wouldn't mind going myself and report back with a vlog, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to make it over there. Not me. No, not you. Right, thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this and subscribe for more, please. Follow me on social media to see behind the scenes projects with Raspberry Pi and Home Assistant. Check out my other channel as well on Magical Man Cave on YouTube. And remember to stay curious, stay playful, and keep the magic alive. I will be back next time with some more magical awesomeness. But until next time, as always, stay magical. And now I've just got to find out which button I click to terminate this live stream. Where is that? Is it this one? I think it is this one. I'm going to say thank you ever so much. And I'm going to go now. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.